The press conference room smelled like fresh paint and tension. Flags from two countries stood behind the podium. One from a traditional European football powerhouse. The other from a nation most fans still associated with basketball and boxing more than the beautiful game. The European flag belonged to a team that had lifted trophies, produced Ballon d'Or contenders, and filled stadiums for generations. Their head coach, Coach Victor Holden, sat in front of a wall of sponsor logos, shoulders relaxed, expression confident. He'd led teams deep into World Cups. His opinion was treated like gospel. Next to him, on a smaller chair, sat Coach Armin Reyes from the Philippines. His team had never reached a World Cup, but in recent years, Philippine football had quietly climbed historic SEA Games runs, improved league play, a new infrastructure roadmap. For the first time, they had reached the final phase of Asian qualifiers. They were still underdogs, but they were in the room. A reporter raised his hand and addressed Victor. "Coach," he said, "you've played against Brazil, Germany, Argentina. Now you face the Philippines. Honest thoughts?" The room chuckled. A few lenses turned to Armin as if to see how he'd take the joke. Victor smiled, leaning toward the mic. "We studied them," he said. "They have energy. They run a lot. Filipinos are very good at hospitality and karaoke." A ripple of laughter. "But football," he added, "is not karaoke. It is not a party. At this level, they will feel what real football is." Armin kept his face neutral. Inside, his jaw tightened. A Filipino journalist spoke up. "Coach Victor, do you underestimate them?" he asked. "They've had historic results in Southeast Asia." Victor shrugged. "I never underestimate any opponent," he said. "But let's be honest. Some countries are football countries. Some are not. The Philippines is learning." The quote hit social media within minutes. "Not a football country." Memes popped up. Some fans agreed, dragging the Philippine team. Others, especially Filipinos, felt heat rise in their chests. In a modest locker room under the stadium, the Philippine players watched the clip on a cracked tablet as they laced their boots. Leo Navarro, 22-year-old winger from Cebu who had grown up playing on dusty barangay courts with no proper goals, stared at the screen. He'd been told all his life that football was a weird sport in the Philippines, that he should just play basketball if he wanted to go somewhere. Now a World Cup coach was saying it again, just in more expensive words. Beside him, team captain Miguel Migs Santos, a centre-back who'd spent years in semi-pro leagues before getting a chance with the national team, shook his head. "He can say what he wants," Migs said. "We don't argue in press conferences. We answer on the pitch." Coach Armin walked in, whistle around his neck, game plan in his hand. He saw the video paused on Victor's smirk. "You all saw it?" he asked. Heads nodded. "Good," Armin said. "Now forget it." The players blinked. He held up the tactics board. "This," he said, tapping the magnets, "is what matters." Their left back pushes to high. Their superstar striker hates being pressed by someone shorter and quicker. Their centre-backs don't like it when wingers cut inside instead of crossing. That's where you live, not in sound bites. He looked at Leo. "Navarro," he said, "you will live in that left back's nightmares tonight." Not as a Filipino, as a footballer. Kick-off night was electric. The stadium was mostly filled with European fans wearing their colors, singing songs they'd sung for decades. But scattered around the stands were pockets of Filipinos, or FWS, students, diaspora families waving small flags, some wearing basketball jerseys over football shirts. The national anthems played. The Philippines anthem echoed strangely in a stadium that had never heard it before. In a World Cup qualifier, some fans filmed the moment with tears in their eyes. The whistle blew. From the start, the European team moved the ball with fluid ease, one-touch passes, overlapping runs. A superstar striker dropping deep to link play. The Philippine team, in white, compacted their shape, disciplined, waiting. In the 12th minute, the first test came. A quick combination sliced through midfield and sent the European winger free on the left. He whipped in a dangerous cross. Their star forward rose between the Filipino centre-backs, powered a header toward the corner. Goalkeeper Paulo Cruz exploded sideways, fingertips brushing the ball just enough to push it onto the post. It ricocheted out. The crowd groaned. Paulo roared at his defense, fire in his eyes. "That's one," Miggs shouted. "Wake up." For the next 30 minutes, it was a siege. Shots, crosses, set pieces. The Philippine team bent but did not break. Years of being underdogs in Asia had taught them how to suffer without collapsing. Then, in the 38th minute, something shifted. Leo intercepted a lazy pass in midfield. Suddenly, there was space. He pushed the ball forward, long strides eating up grass. The European left back, used to facing wingers who cut wide, tried to shepherd him to the flank. Instead, Leo chopped inside, ball glued to his foot, and drove straight at the heart of the defense. Fans who hadn't even known the Philippines had a team leaned forward. He slipped a pass to the striker, who laid it off quickly to a teammate on the right. The shot that followed was parried, but the message was clear. They weren't just tourists. Halftime came at 0-0. In the tunnel, cameras caught Victor looking irritated. In the Philippine locker room, the players gulped down water, chests heaving. Coach Armin drew on the board again. "They're frustrated," he said. Victor expected 3-0 by now. "This is where they get sloppy. Navarro, listen. Their left back will either attack more or he'll stay back scared. Either way, there will be space behind him." Leo nodded, heart pounding. Second half, the European team came out harder, embarrassed by the scoreline. In the 55th minute, they finally broke through. A quick free kick caught the Filipinos half asleep. A low cross, a tap-in at the back post. 1-0. The stadium erupted. Chants filled the air. Cameras zoomed in on Victor, who gave a small, tight smile as if to say, "Order has been restored." On the Philippine bench, a few heads dropped. Coach Armin clapped loudly. "Hoy!" he shouted. "We knew they'd score. Did anyone here think we'd win 1-0 against them? No. So, what's the problem? The game is not over." He pointed at the center circle. "You've already lasted longer than the pundits said you would. Now you decide. Is this the part where we accept the script, or the part where we flip it?" In the 70th minute, the moment came. The European left back, desperate to create another goal, surged high up the pitch. A loose pass was intercepted by Miggs, who cleared not just anywhere, but directly into the path of Leo near the halfway line. Leo brought it down and turned. Suddenly, there was green space and only one defender between him and history. He ran. The defender tried to foul him early, but Leo slipped the challenge. Another midfielder lunged. Leo toe poked the ball past him and accelerated again. The stadium noise turned into a roar of panic and excitement. At the edge of the box, the famous centre-back stepped up, confident he'd muscle the kid off the ball. Leo feinted a shot, chopped the ball to his weaker foot, and cut inside. The defender stumbled. For a split second, the angle was there. Leo struck across the ball, low and curling. Time slowed. The goalkeeper, caught leaning the wrong way, dove desperately. The ball kissed the inside of the far post and rippled the net. Silence. Then an eruption, small Filipino pockets screaming, some dropping to their knees, others grabbing their heads in disbelief. 1-1. Leo sprinted to the corner, eyes wide, arms outstretched. His teammates swarmed him, burying him in a pile of white shirts and flags. Up in the VIP box, a FIFA official turned to his colleague. "Who is that kid?" he asked. "Navarro," the colleague replied, checking his notes. "Club from a small league. First World Cup cycle." On the touchline, Victor shouted instructions, face flushed. This was not the script. Suddenly, every pass for his team felt heavier, every miss louder. In the 88th minute, with the score still level, fatigue hit both sides. The Philippines were running on fumes. The Europeans pushed desperately for a winner. A corner, bodies in the box. A vicious header crashed toward goal. Miggs threw himself in front of it, taking the ball full in the face. He dropped like a stone. The referees stopped play. Medics rushed. Cameras zoomed in as Miggs blinked away stars, blood trickling from where the ball had split his lip. "You okay?" Paolo asked. Miggs spit blood, grinned crookedly. "We're 1 minute from shocking the world," he said. "I'll be okay later." He stayed on. When the final whistle blew, the scoreboard still read 1-1. On paper, it was just a draw. But in context, it was a seismic result to an unheralded team from a so-called non-football country holding a European giant in a World Cup qualifier in their own stadium. In the mixed zone after the match, reporters swarmed Victor. "Coach," one asked, "you said earlier the Philippines is not a football country. Do you stand by that after tonight?" Victor looked tired, humble in a way he hadn't been in the press room. "I said something stupid," he admitted. "I disrespected a team I hadn't watched properly. They showed more heart than some so-called big teams. If that is not a football country, then maybe I don't understand football." Another reporter turned to Leo, who still looked dazed. "How does it feel," she asked, "to score against one of the world's best teams after hearing those comments?" Leo thought of dusty barangay pitches, of being told to just play basketball, of sneaking to watch Azkals games on TV. "It feels like I'm not just playing for myself," he said. "I'm playing for every kid in the Philippines who was told football is a waste of time. If we can draw here, maybe they'll believe it's not." Back in Manila, in small futsal courts, rooftop fields, and makeshift pitches on empty lots, Kids watched the replay on cheap TVs and phones. They saw someone who looked like them spinning away from world-class defenders. Heard a World Cup coach admit he was wrong about their country. For the first time, when a child said, "I want to be a footballer," the adults around them didn't laugh automatically. Because that night, in a stadium far from home, 11 Filipinos refused to accept that the world gets to decide what kind of country they are. And FIFA, whether it liked it or not, had to update its idea of who belonged on that stage.